Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all can be with us. Going to bring in our friends over on IG so they can be a part of our chat. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon Live. Have a returning guest that's with us today. But of course, because it is National Reading Month as well as Women Appreciation Month, we have a lot of things to be able to discuss as well as her new book and projects as well. We're now live on Amazon Live with Cyrus Ware Presents. I'm going to type you guys in a welcome message over there. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the books by our next guest. Dr. Teresa A. Smith, aka Dr. TAS, is back with us today. We're going to talk to her about what's been a busy start to 2026, but also this month for National Reading Month, the books that she has for you guys to be able to get, the different topics she's able to touch on, but also how she's been able to use the message of transformation in their other projects as well. If you guys are not staying connected with Dr. Taz, we'll let you guys do that. Taz, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Cyrus.
Hey, glad to do it. Glad to do it. Hello to you, Mosley over there on IG. Appreciate you being with us. So, Taz, this month is tailor made for individuals like yourself. As I mentioned, it's National Reading Month. It's of course it's also ebook month, but also women history, women appreciation. I want to talk about this on a different level for you, though, Taz. I mean, you're an individual who's been able to host your own shows. You're a media host yourself. You have your own platform. You're able to talk to others. But what has it been like for you to reflect on the history that you've been able to make over the past several years?
Cyrus, thank you so much for that question. It's so appropriate at this point in my life. And also, as you stated, it is Women's History Month and National Reading Month, it's ebook month. I really came to the forefront because of my writing. And to think that when I wrote Stronger, I never imagined the evolution that would happen with my life. So I've written these different books and they're all about transformation. And then I look back and say, hey, you have been transforming also. And you know me, I try to be very transparent because there are good days and then there are not so good days. And my hope is that as we go through this thing that I call life, which is sort of like an incubator, that others understand that it's an up and down motion. It's not really linear. And therefore, you take the good with the bad. And hopefully with my book of my work, my collection of work, and then my shows, people will see that I'm like the old, what was it, Timex? It takes a licking and it keep on ticking. That's the mentality. That's the mantra that we have to hold on to in order to progress through life.
Right. Kevin O'Sullivan, hello to you over there on IG. Glad to have you. Now, but with that being said, though, Taz, here's the thing, and I agree with everything you just said, and I appreciate you saying it. But we live in a world where, especially because of social media, people think being transparent, people think being vulnerable, they equate it to weakness. They equate it with being less than instead of showing off this picture perfect life. When did you realize that your vulnerability and your authenticity was your strength?
Cyrus, I think I always knew it, but I think I had that black noise, white noise, whatever noise you want to call it. I had these people and circumstances in my ear. And I can remember someone saying to me some time ago that they were aware of the incest and things that I write about in Stronger. They became aware of that and they wanted to reassure me that they were going to keep my secret. Well, for me, it's not a secret, okay? And I appreciate that person for saying that as a way of and maybe comforting me. But for me, I understood that my vulnerability, my transparency, it was not a weakness. And that we as people, those of us who want to, we've got to stop looking at things that really make us unique as the weakness. And so that was I was beginning to write Stronger then. And so, I knew that I was going to tell everything because I'd always told my family, I'm telling it all. Because I knew it was liberating. And I always thought that, I guess it's the song, may the works I've done speak for me. May my life speak for me, because my life is a work. I started here as that ugly little black girl, But now I moved to here, and then I've moved here, and I've moved further along my journey without even realizing how what should have been what kept me in bondage was actually freeing me to move forward.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's such a great reminder for our audience. Hey, Ellen, good to see you over there on YouTube. Glad you could be able to join us. And with that being said, then Taz, that leads us then to the books. As I mentioned, it's National Reading Month. You have different types of books. You referenced Stronger, which is the new edition I have here. I'm going to highlight it for our audience joining us on the Amazon side. Talk to us about what you said earlier, and that was how the transformation has kind of showed up in all your books. Because even though I have these books here, you also have the cookbook. You have your juicing book. You have the new book about editing. And yes, all of those things do have to do with change and with transformation. What has it been like for you to embrace that theme? Because as you talk about in your book, transformation that I happen to have here, change is challenging. But what has it been like for you to be able to recognize the need for it?
Well, Cyrus, I'm so transparent. I I realize there's a need for everything that I do. And I realize that everything that happens for me is for me and for other people. Now, I had to take some time off last year because it had become too much.
Mm,
Because really, as I think back on it now, I was being forced to change, and
mm,
change is challenging. But at the time that I was going through it, I was just overwhelmed.
mm,
I just couldn't see my way through it because I was in the midst of the storm. But now, 6 months later, I realized I was going through a change, and the only way that I could come out the way I am now, I had to go through it. And it was very painful for me. So when I think about all of the work and the people who read my books and people who listen to me, you know, I think that we have to get to a place where we stop fighting and be open to the possibilities and not just say it with our mouth, but actually mean it with our mind and with our heart. And therefore, it is challenging. And I think that, I'm a faith person. I think that God allows me to write different books in order to demonstrate that change is challenging, but you can be victorious in it.
mhm.
Even like with the editing book, when I was writing it, it was like, okay, I'm writing this. And then it was like, everything that you do when you write, it is transformation. Well,
Right.
I'm just pouring out what's in my mind. And I think that that's the reason why that theme of transformation is woven through everything that I do, because that's the world that we have got to adjust to, specifically now with technology and the advent of AI.
Yeah. And I think for our audience out there, Taz, as they listen to you, I think a lot of times, as you mentioned with the books, and as I reference, you have books on different topics, which means you do have different interests, but also that you have different audiences. So I want to talk about the balance
Mhm.
because I think, no matter what our gifts may be, our gifts may be many, but we are one. How have you been able to find that balance so that you don't get to a place of dissatisfaction and burnout and being able to be tired of the doors to get your gifts are opening for you?
Well, SARS, you know, I'm going to quote my therapist. He says he's life giving. If it's not life giving, we don't do that. And
Mhm.
so it's an actual question that I intentionally ask myself about everything, because I learned from a very wise person, probably about 5 years ago, that they can do a lot of things, but they have to ask themselves, is that the best use of their time at
Mhm.
that moment? And I've never forgotten that, because that was a nugget that they dropped on me. And so now, after going through my last transformation, I am very mindful of that. I'm mindful of my body.
Mhm.
I'll be a little transparent. There was a day recently, I won't say what day it was, I was so tired. Well, I didn't feel tired, but my body needed rest. So I woke up at my normal time, but I didn't get up. And so then when I woke up again, I'm like, okay. And then I woke up that last time. I said, now, you late because you have some things you need to do. So I jumped up and I started moving like that. But I could jump up and move and have a good day because I got rest. because
Yeah.
I thought about it during that day. It's like, oh, you're doing well today. I got rest. So for me, when things like that happen, it's a pat on the back. You know, people like, well, and you've asked me too, do you celebrate your wins? I'm celebrating those wins because when
Mm.
I eat properly, when I sleep and I get my fluids in, that's a win for me because that's
Right.
how I can maintain my balance.
Yeah. And it's a great reminder for our audience as well. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Represents here on Amazon Live, but we're simulcasting across social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. Dr. Teresa A. Smith, aka Dr. TAS, is back with us today. We're talking with her about the books that you guys see in front of us. It's National Reading Month, but also Women's History, Women's Empowerment Month. We're talking to TAS not only about what she's been able to do when it comes to being able to serve different audiences, but also to share bits of her own transformation through her books as well. We're going to get into the editing book here at Taz in a second, but I want to go to your audience because not only have you built an audience of readers, but also of viewers as well. Talk to us about that because I think a lot of times, especially
Mhm,
solopreneurs, we don't automatically think about
mhm.
the fact that we have to wear two hats.
Yes.
We have to wear the hat of the worker, the employee, but
Mhm.
also the hat of the CEO. What has it been like for Ties to put on the hat, though, as host and producer of these shows and to see the audience that you're growing through your media platform?
Cyrus, I always admired Oprah Winfrey. I used to say that Oprah has taken my personality and she's made millions of dollars as she's helped people. And I always admired her attention to her audience's needs. And then some years back, a young lady who's now deceased said to me, she said, Dr. Smith, I don't know what she called me, Taz. She said, you're going to have a show. And I said, okay. But in my heart, I always wanted a show. And it was one of the last things that she said to me before she passed. And so when I think back on the fact that now I wear that hat of host and producer for multiple shows, it's humbling. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. But I also understand that that's a lot of responsibility because my audiences are different for each show.
Yeah.
And so therefore I have to be in tune to them. So when you talk about being, I'm going to say that worker bee, because as the host and producer, if it's a show where I have guests on, I'm doing all the work as a solopreneur to bring those people on, all the marketing, etc. But at the
Right.
same time, as a CEO, I have to step back, look at my metrics, look at the feedback, look at what the audience is telling me so that I know whether or not I got to tell that worker bee, which is the same person, that they need to adjust.
Hmm.
And so for me, even with all of the good things that come along with it, I realize I have to balance the work that also comes along with it.
And I think too, talking about that part, I want to kind of zero in on another component of that, Taz, and that is about the feedback from the audience. I think for the shows, the interesting thing is for those who have shows, I think you'll agree with me, you're able to get instant feedback the majority of the time. For books, you can work on a book for weeks or months, and it may be a while for you to hear from someone. What has it been like for you to see the feedback to the programs you producing, ties, and to see how they're reaching the different audiences?
Well, Cyrus, sometimes I feel like I am a member of the cast of Scandal, and I'm taking myself way back. And they used to tweet. They'd have, I
Mhm.
guess, scandal parties and tweet. And
Right.
so with the live show, like Real Talk with Taz and Angelia, we have people there. They're making comments, because we're simulcasting on IG, Facebook, and YouTube, and they're making comments. So as I'm hosting, I'm also engaging with them at the same time. So that's very rewarding. And then it also lets me know as the host if I need to tweak something sometimes. Like someone
Mhm.
said this week, laugh out loud, good training. And then they were like, you talking to me. So that let me know instantly that what we were saying was resonating. And I'll be honest, guys, that was a gentleman. It was not a lady. And so that tells me, which I already knew when we were actually live on just IG, that we have men and women who are
Right.
engaging in our content. And so I keep that in mind. Also, with my Talk with TAS interview show, it's pre recorded, but I'm still on live. And like one of the last shows, I think I had about 7 or 8 people join me for the pre-recorded show. So that tells me that the subject matter is resonating with the audience, and I have
Right.
to basically feed the audience what they want. Don't do what I might would like to want, because that may be the nail in my coffin, and that's not what I want.
Right. Which then leads to an interesting point then, because this newest book then ties, this ebook is a very big departure from what you've done in the sense that this is a very niche audience that you're now being able to talk to, and that is those who are writers. Talk to us about the new book. I'm going to highlight it for our audience there on the Amazon side. Edit Like a Pro. Why was now the time to write it, and who was the audience you had in mind for it, Taz?
Cyrus, now was the time when I was taking a break, and I was in the incubator, trying to get out. I'm always thinking, and I think, I'm a professor, so, I work with students all day long, every day about their writing. Because what I realize is people have, most times they can refine their idea in their mind, but it's hard for them to articulate it. And
Mm,
so I thought, well, okay, you know what is ahead of your students who are completing a capstone. You know what's going to be ahead of your students who are going to be completing other final documents. So how can you help anyone else who's going through that process? And so it's students, it's professional writers, it's authors. What I found was that we often try to do all of the editing at one time, when it's
mm,
really a step-by-step process. And transformation is a step-by-step process. Whether it's me in the kitchen, Taz in the kitchen cooking, whether it's the sip to heal, everything has a process. And when you rush the process, the product is not what you desire it to be. And so I thought now is the time, because as an educator, I know how AI is impacting students. It's a tool that can help them, but sometimes students may not understand how the tool should be helping them. But
yeah.
if you can add it, you can let that be a tool that helps you, but you've got to have a system for how you edit. And so I just thought that this was the perfect time to bring something new to the market that could help students, help parents, because parents read their students. Well, my parents did. They used to read my papers when I was in high school to see if it made sense.
Right.
Again, it's for everybody to help them to make sure that whatever writing that they're doing, it makes sense for the person who's going to read it.
Love that. So, with that being said, then, Taz, as you kind of think about the new book, but also the other books as well, again, you're able to meet people where they are thanks to your skills, to your expertise. How does that feel? Because I think a lot of times it's so easy for us to focus on what we didn't get done, or what we haven't achieved,
Mhm.
or what didn't happen. How important has it been for you to not only to recognize the wins, you mentioned the celebrating part, but recognizing the wins and being able to see how you can better be able to use those as you move forward?
Cyrus, I'm just so, I'm really having to break out of this shell of not sharing my wins. And the way I'm doing it is I'm having to almost flip the hourglass and think of it this way. When I share my wins, it then tells someone else they can win.
Mhm.
And if they were struggling with whatever win that I have now, I'm over that hurdle, then they
Mhm.
may say, hey, maybe I'll reach out to her. Maybe she can give me some suggestions that will help me. And so
Yeah.
I realize now it's not being braggadocious or anything like that. It's really being of service to others. And so
Mhm.
I'm adjusting to that more now, maybe as I'm aging.
Good deal.
Age brings about different things, that it's being of service to others And you have to let them know that you can be of service to them.
Mm. I love that. And I think that's such a great reminder. Felicia, hello to you. Good to be see you over there on Facebook. And Felicia says, yes, your win helps me win. That is such a great point.
Alicia.
What helped you to stop looking at life and business as a competition, Taz?
Now, when you ask that question, Cyrus, now you mean me as in life and me as in everything else that I'm competing against with someone else? You
Right.
mean that?
Hmm.
The funny thing is, I never looked at it as a competition. Miss Gloria is an odd person. That's my mother. I had the show Taz and Miss Gloria. Mama always taught me and all of us that if somebody else could do it, you could do it, and you might could do it better. But the thing is, what I had to learn was people want to put a label on you. They want to categorize you, as me and Jay just did a show about don't put baby in the corner. And that I had to stop letting them attempt to put me in a corner because I always knew that I could, and it's not a competition. And the
Right.
other part with that now with age also comes this, Cyrus. You may be in competition with me, but I'm not in competition with you. I'm just trying to pull my red wagon down the lane that has been designed for me to pull it down. But you do
Mhm.
what you want to do. But don't understand what your gifting is. Understand the lane that you're supposed to be in. And I realize if they want to be in competition with me, that's fine.
Right. And I think that's the big thing too, not letting someone else's stuff become our
Mhm.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? Because again, that's what makes the difference. And no one can get to us unless we allow them to get to us.
Mhm.
And when you're focused on what you're doing, it definitely helps for sure. So, Taz, we mentioned the different things that are happening right now. As we go throughout this month, it's hard to believe we're already through the first week here. What else are you excited about during the month of March?
Well, Cyrus, I'm excited about my shows, of course, and I'm excited about the opportunities that I'm providing for individuals with my editing. So those services are available to individuals. All they have to do is reach out to me. I'm
Mhm.
also excited to offer the special package this month for Talk with Taz, where individuals can be on my show and also be on Cyrus Webb Presents on Amazon
Mhm.
Live. So I'm grateful to be able to offer that service to individuals this month. Also, Cyrus, it is Women's History Month. So, with Real Talk with Taz and Angelia, we just seem to be really focusing on helping individuals to understand who they are so that they can walk in their authentic life. And so we're going to still keep pushing that. And of course, it is National Reading Month. So I started sharing some old clips from from Transformation. I will be sharing other clips from other books just as a way to encourage individuals that where they are is not the end of the story. So, lots of different things are going to be sprinkled in this month.
Okay.
But I'm just excited about the opportunity to be able to share with others.
I know they are as well. To Kenya, hey, hello to you over there on Facebook. To Kenya says, hey there, sound like my mother. You have to have your own red wagon to pull. There you
Mhm.
go. Great
Absolutely.
reminder, focusing on ourselves. Well, Ties, a lot of great things happening. Congratulations to you on the new ebook. I'm going to highlight it again for our Amazon audience over there. Again, that is Edit Like a Pro, but also you can get the other books you all can see here by Ties as well. Ties, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Well, Cyrus, the best thing to do is just to follow me on IG, Dr. Teresa Smith. My Linktree bio is there, and it will take you to all of my social media. And of course, you need to follow me on YouTube. I'm Dr.
Mhm.
Taz, DRTAS. You'll see my face because a lot of program happens on YouTube. Let me just tell you that. And that's my way of saying that there's more programming to come. So you don't want to miss out on any of that.
Love it. Well, Ties, excited about what's to come and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you so much, Cyrus.
More than welcome. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you'll make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.